You ever get that feeling walking home late at night? You know, that little prickle on your neck that says you're being followed? Well, imagine the thing you're scared of isn't behind you, it's literally attached to you. It's your own shadow. And then it moves before you do. That's the idea we're digging into today. This concept that ancient myths are kind of like living shadows themselves, preceding everything we create and shaping it before we even put pen to paper. Okay, so let's get right into it. This quote, this isn't just a simple description. No, this is a mission statement. This is the secret recipe for a visual style that's designed to pull those old, mythic shadows out of the history books and make them feel real right here, right now. And today, we are going to break down that recipe ingredient by ingredient. So here's the game plan. We'll start with this idea of a myth's living shadow. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the visual blueprint that gives it shape. After that, we'll see how artists craft that perfect mix of awe and danger and put it all to the test with a case study on Medusa herself. And finally, we'll try to answer the big question: why do these ancient monsters still get under our skin? All right, section 1, a myth's living shadow. This is the whole foundation of what we're talking about. See, we're not just dealing with simple inspiration here. We're talking about stories that are so primal, so baked into our collective DNA, that they cast this incredibly long shadow over time. They give artists a pre-made blueprint for fear, for wonder, and for power. And that's exactly what we're doing in this explainer. I want you to see that this isn't just happening by accident. It's a deliberate, almost scientific method. It's an artistic formula for taking something ancient and making it feel like it's standing right behind you, breathing down your neck. So let's move on to section 2 and see how it's actually built. This is the visual blueprint, the style's core DNA. And what's so cool about it is that it's born from this collision of two totally different artistic worlds. So on one side, you've got the explosive, emotional punch of anime. You know, those sharp, super expressive faces that can tell you everything you need to know in a single glance, all cranked up to 11 with rich, saturated colors. But then you slam that together with the gritty, shadowy world of noir comics, a world full of deep, oppressive shadows, a moody atmosphere, and just stark, dramatic lighting. What you end up with is the raw emotion of one style trapped in the suffocating dread of the other. And then, for that final, creepy touch, the artist throws in this, a VHS effect. Now, this does way more than just look retro. It adds a layer of grime, of distortion. It makes the whole thing feel less like a piece of art and more like a forbidden piece of evidence, like a tape you found that you were never supposed to see. It's a found footage filter for a monster that shouldn't exist. So once you've got that style locked in, how do you build the world itself? That brings us to section 3, crafting awe and danger. This is all about layering in those little details that create an atmosphere that's both immersive and seriously threatening. Now, what I love about this is how physical it all feels. These aren't just ideas, they're textures, right? The artist wants you to practically feel the rough surface of the cracked stone, to see the eerie glow of the runes, to feel that bone-chilling dampness in the air. These details make the mythic world feel real, ancient, and tangible. But just showing you these textures isn't quite enough. The real trick is how they're framed. By using these dynamic, often low camera angles and this epic sense of scale, the artist puts you right in the scene. But more importantly, they make you feel tiny, completely powerless compared to whatever is hiding in those shadows. Which, of course, brings us to the ultimate question. We've got the emotion of anime, the mood of noir, and a world packed with ancient, gritty textures. But how do all of those ingredients come together to actually bring a nightmare to life? Well, let's put the entire recipe to the test. Okay, time to see it all in action. Section 4 is our case study, Medusa Reborn. We're going to build this monster piece by horrifying piece using every single element we've just talked about. First up, the environment. We start in a dark cavern. And notice that little detail, dripping with moisture. Right away, you have that moody, noir atmosphere and a key physical texture. It feels cold, damp, and just plain wrong. Next, the story is told without a single word. These stone statues, they tell you everything you need to know about the stakes here. This isn't just some cave, it's a graveyard. It's a brilliant way to show us the horrific cost of failure before we even meet the monster. And now, the reveal begins. A figure emerges, but she's kept in shadow, lit only by this faint, sickly green glow. This is that high-contrast, noir lighting doing its job, building suspense while hiding the true horror from us. And then we finally see her face, and this is where that sharp, expressive anime style delivers the punch. The stark, pale skin, the menacing glow in her eyes, and that constantly moving, hissing serpent hair. Every single detail is engineered for maximum psychological terror. Even her clothes tell a story. The Greek dress confirms her ancient origins, but the fact that it's torn and the gold is cracked, that speaks to centuries of decay and pure malice. It's another one of those key textures, making her feel timelessly dangerous. And finally, the killer move. The camera pushes in from below, a classic cinematic trick that makes Medusa loom over us, emphasizing her total power and our absolute vulnerability. In this one shot, the entire blueprint comes together to create pure, distilled terror. So this all brings us to our final and maybe most important section. Why do these old monsters stick around? What is it about this specific, modern approach that makes them hit so hard? So here's the big takeaway. The real power of this artistic blueprint is that it does so much more than just illustrate an old story. It taps directly into the primal fears that made the myth terrifying in the first place. The fear of being powerless, of being different, of a single look that can destroy you. It translates those deep-seated feelings into a visual language that we get instinctively today. It skips the history lesson and just injects the raw emotion right into your veins. Which leaves us with one last thought. We've just deconstructed the entire recipe for breathing new life into old nightmares. We know how to make something ancient feel terrifyingly new. So the only question left is, if you had this blueprint, this power, which shadow from our collective past would you choose to bring back into the light?